Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and a while back on this channel we took a look at some statues from Indiana Jones, as well as some action figures different sizes from Diamond Select. And they're going all in this year on Indy and probably into next year as well. So to continue that, we're taking a look at one of their newer pieces today. This right here is another Indiana Jones piece. And this is part of their premier collection of statues. So this is a limited edition resin statue as opposed to the PVC one that we looked at previously that was based on Temple of Doom. This resin piece is based on the first film, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This piece is titled Treasures, and this is a 1/7 scale statue, meaning it's not going to exactly fit in with your 6-inch guys, but hey, why not? Close enough at the very least. And this being a resin piece, it should mean we're going to get some better details as opposed to those PVC statues that have been made so far, but we'll be the judge of that in a few moments. But first, let's talk about this packaging here. And the resin pieces don't really typically have a lot of design on them. Quite honestly, oftentimes they're just pure black boxes. But with the Indy stuff so far, we've seen it actually have a good amount of design elements to it. In this case, we've got this sort of like brown look here, and there's some actual sort of like things that you can see on the top here that's almost meant to be some kind of like tribal looking carvings. So something a little bit more colorful and brighter than what we typically get with these pieces. Case in point, if you look at any of our Star Wars resin reviews, they are pretty much always black boxes. Our X-Men statues are pretty much, I think, always blue or black, something along there. They're still very flat, but this one here, it does kind of pop very nicely, especially with the image of Indiana Jones on the front of it. As far as the sides of the box go, there are no windows here, but we do get different images of our statue from, well, some slightly different angles. So you're not seeing what it actually looks like in the packaging, you know, because there's no actual clear way to see it, but at least you're getting some ideas of what this is going to look like overall. Now, the back of the box has a bio about what Indiana Jones is, not who necessarily Indiana Jones is. It's more kind of like a little bit about him, a little bit about the fact this is a whole movie series thing going on. So while it is a personalized bio, it is also, I'm pretty sure, the same bio that they're going to be using across all the different pieces in the Indy lineup. So nothing too amazing there, but it's fine. It's good enough. The box also lets us know that this limited edition is available for only 3,000 folks out there, because only 3,000 of these pieces were made. So talk about a rare treasure indeed. But what is missing here is one important artifact, if you will, and that's credits to who made these pieces here. As opposed to a lot of the PVC dioramas, there's usually credits, but here in the resin pieces, they don't often do that as much, I've noticed at least. Usually it's maybe they'll credit the studio, maybe they'll credit one person, but it's very inconsistent. So we don't know who actually made this piece here, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a good looking piece here. So let's go ahead and unbox our Indiana Jones Treasures statue and take a closer look at him from all angles. All right, so here is our Dr. Jones out of the packaging here, and I gotta say, initial impressions are, this is definitely the better of the bunch I've seen so far. I've seen a bunch of these, and there are, as I mentioned, many Indiana Jones pieces coming out from Diamond Select, whether it be resin or PVC pieces. This one looks really good. There's still a few flaws here and there, but overall, this is a really solid piece, I have to say. Let's go ahead and take it from the top, though, and I think the top is a really good place to begin because we've got our wonderful likeness here of Harrison Ford. And this is a very strong likeness of Harrison Ford. Among the pieces that we've seen so far, this is definitely stronger than the Temple of Doom one that we looked at previously. But I still don't think it's a perfect rendition of Harrison Ford. I still think there's a few things missing in this. What particularly bothers me is his eyes. Or rather, not his eyes, but the space around his eyes. It feels like his eyes are sunken really far back into his head, and it almost looks like he's been punched in the temple a few times. And maybe that is the true Temple of Doom, that boxers kind of punch him in the head a whole bunch of times, and it's kind of like swollen. So that to me is a little off, and you know, you might not see it. It might take a little bit for you guys to like notice it, but the more you look at it, the more you'll see it, and the more it just looks like a Frankenstein version of Harrison Ford. So it's not perfect, you know, as far as like, let's say comparing it to some other statues out there. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to give this like maybe 7 out of 10. Wouldn't go beyond that just because it's, you know, it's unfortunate because some of the other pieces work here. I mean, the nose is definitely correct. The mouth, the lips, the chin, the jaws, that's all good. Something about the head though, it gets lost, it gets messed up. I don't quite know what it is, but it is very noticeable the more you look at it up close. Now, if you're looking at it from a distance, I don't think you're gonna really notice it. If you're like me and you're gonna hold this thing 2 inches from your face to do a YouTube video, you're gonna definitely notice it. But, you know, on a shelf somewhere, not at all, and especially if it's like really lit nicely. Even with the lighting I have right here in the studio space, it looks really impressive. It looks very dramatic, so it's doing what it should be doing. And part of that dramatic look also is attributed to this really great fedora. So we have the classic Indiana Jones fedora on top, which has all the right creases in the correct places. It has the classic 40s bow on the top there. Like, that is the fedora, no arguments from me. I could nitpick about color and things like that, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to save the nitpicking for other things as we go on here. Another really nice thing about this too is the paint job. Paint jobs are always good on the resin pieces. They're always much more detailed than the PVC pieces. We've got really great 5 o'clock shadow on our Dr. Jones here. He's got some nice looking lips and his eyebrows are really good, but what really stands out to me is his eyeballs. They actually do have a little bit of a sheen to them, so they kind of glisten in the light, and it's a different kind of glisten than what you get with the skin and the rest of this here. Speaking of that, that kind of falls, I think, into paint and also texture. So let's start working our way down from this Indiana Jones right now. And texture is a big part of the Indy pieces, I've noticed, because he is a traveler, he is running around in all sorts of places, he's going to be going onto uneven, gross, bumpy terrain. So yeah, it's very much about giving him a rough look while also kind of balancing out some of the smoothness in him too. So we have here the leather jacket, which has a lot of texture on it. Some great creasing on the back there, very lifelike. Same thing too with the shirt he has on. It's a very plain shirt, but it's really the detail in there that counts. Again, all the folds, all the creases in the right places. This is a very worn shirt. This is not something that he just put on that he pressed. This isn't like a John Wick piece. This is more of a, not even battle ready. This is just him running around sweaty in a jungle. So you definitely get that feeling here. Pants are also really great. I mean, I'm a fan of these nice old brown pants. Not much to them, but it gets the job done. And I also like the shoes a lot too. They have some dirt on them. They're a little crusty, a little beat up. They've definitely seen some action. And of course, we cannot forget that in his left hand here, he's got his trusty whip as always, which has, again, really great texture on it. And this one feels very solid. The whip that I think came with in that Temple Doom piece, it felt like there might have been 1 or 2 maybe weaker points, relatively speaking, but this one here feels really tight, really solid, and very sturdy. Now, that's his left hand. You might have noticed as we did this that something is missing, and that would be his right hand. Well, that's because we don't have a right hand. We have 3 of them. Yeah, I have here in my hand 3 additional hands for him, and each one is holding a different artifact. So each of the hands represents a different film from the original Indiana Jones trilogy. So that's a really cool, nice little touch here. So I think we'll begin with, let's go to the final film. How about that? And here we've got the chalice that Indiana Jones used to revive Sean Connery, his dad, Dr. Henry Jones, Sr. or whatever it was. And the chalice has a lot of great looking detail. It's not just smooth inside and out. It actually has a rough texture on both the inside and the outside of it. So again, not just a simple, bland, whatever. And each of the hands is also different. When I say hands, I mean the way he's grabbing things. Each one of those is different. We're not getting the same hand with different things or whatever. It's different hand, unique to each item that he's holding because he's got to hold them in different ways. And all of these are connected by magnets too, which makes it very easy to take them and swap them just like that. Very nice. And initially I wasn't sure if these were actually different items from different films or if they were just from the same thing or whatever, because I was like, well, why would they make one statue for all 3? And then, well, it kind of makes sense because he's really wearing the same clothes throughout the entire trilogy, right? So close enough. Moving on, we've got from the Temple of Doom, the thing I can't remember the name of, but you guys know it out there, so you can let me know what it is in the comments. Again, different looking hand, different looking item. To me, it just looks like a bronze piece of stale Italian bread maybe, or possibly French bread. I'll let the archaeologists figure that one out on their own time. And finally, the piece de resistance, the one that we saw on the front of the packaging here. We've got the fertility idol from the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I don't want to spend too much time waxing poetic about this piece because I don't want to get demonetized for talking about a totally naked birthing woman here. But it looks great, very nice shiny gold detail to it. It might be a little bit cleaner than the one we saw in the movies, but still gets the job done. Looks excellent. And I think we're going to leave this on for the rest of the video because that's what's on the front of the box. So it feels like it's the signature item to leave on for this. Now, I should also point out, we didn't really mention it because it's kind of hiding underneath his jacket. He does have his satchel, which he always wears with him. You can see that there, but it's hiding under the jacket. Easy place for him to store all of his goodies that he's scavenged. But let's jump over to the base. And the base, probably the least exciting part of the statue, and that's typical of most statues, but usually the bases can be a point of excitement because there's going to be a lot of detail. It's going to be all sorts of little odds and ends or references to the movies. In this case, it's kind of simple, but that's not a bad thing either. We've got some mud as far as the ground goes, and that's accurate to the movie. We've got this nice big old shrubbery here that's by his feet. And then there's also some old bricks, I guess you could say, that are on the bottom here. So again, not really a ton of things for me to talk about with this piece and how it all goes together, but all the important bits are there. We get a sense of who Indy is, we get a sense of the adventure with all of this, so I think it ties together all very, very nicely into one cohesive story. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video here, this is a limited edition piece, and it's limited to 3,000 pieces, and the way you'll know that is that it comes with a certificate of authenticity in the form of this trading card over here, as well as a number on the bottom of the base. So overall thoughts on this piece here, especially to compare it to what we have seen on this channel previously, I think being a resin piece, we get to have a lot more detail. We get to have better sculpting, we get to have better paint, we get to have smoother application of all these elements here, and we also get a statue with a lot of heft to it too. That's the nice thing about this piece, is it feels hefty. This feels like an artifact that Indiana Jones might find somewhere. So it feels really solid, it feels good to hold. It looks very nice, that's for sure. It's going to look great on a shelf somewhere. Really, my only complaint would just be that the head is not really a perfect 10, but you get what you pay for. And we're not really paying prices for things like Iron Studios here. We are still paying Diamond Select Gentle Giant money for a 3000 edition statue series here, right? So I'm happy with it overall. I would have liked to maybe have seen the head slim down a bit. I think that's really all it is. Just he's got a little bit of a fat head thing going on by his eyes there. But from a distance, you really don't see it. In fact, from a lot of these angles that you're looking at me right now with, you probably don't even see it. So that's kind of going to be, I think, your deciding factor of whether or not you want to get this piece. Because you can see the body, the detail, the clothing, the paint job, that's all superb. The head just has me wanting a little bit something different. Not a total knockout for me, and that's fine though. It still gets the job done, and I'm pretty happy with this overall. Now, if you'd like to pick up this Indiana Jones Treasures statue for yourself, go ahead and check out my affiliate links in the description of this video below. If you click on any of those links, it helps support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. So that's our look at Indiana Jones, his Treasures Edition statue from Diamond Select 1/7 scale piece. Go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think about this guy here. And until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.